The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Little follow-up to everybody as we kick off this show, Hannah.
Okay.
You were not back yet when I did this, but I brought in an Evergreen Park chef by the name of Max Musto.
Max Musto?
Yeah, Italian guy.
That sounds like an Italian chef kind of name.
Oh, yeah, he's one of my people.
Yeah, I can see him making a big pot of spaghetti or...
Yeah, except he does it with no meat.
Wait.
Because he's a vegan chef.
Wait,
Yeah, I know.
He's Italian?
I know. There's a whole show. You can see it. It's on demand anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com. I know the title of that show refers to him as the scientist chef. It's only probably about 5 to 6 episodes back. Just scroll back and take a look at it and listen to it. It's a great interview. He came down here to the bar, sat down with me, and tried to convince me that vegan food was good.
Okay.
And so the follow-up is the episode currently out as of this past Thursday on Southside Pod, another podcast here on the Broadcast Basement On Demand Radio Network, has Max on that show, and I actually went to his pop-up restaurant in Bridgeport. So he doesn't have a location in Evergreen Park yet. I think he'd be an amazing addition, though, because I'm going to tell you right now, go back and listen to it. But I had a cheeseburger that I would have never been able to tell the difference. And I went into it trying...
Are you, serious, though?
Trying
People
to find
say
the difference.
That, but
no.
For real?
No. I'm going to tell you something right now. No money has been exchanged. That man is a witch, is what I've decided. He's a witch.
I hear these stories of people say it tastes like meat. It felt like meat. But that's for real.
Well, here's the thing. I've
never tried it.
I've had people who have admitted to me that you have like these vegan burgers and it's like, well, I mean, it's beans, right? Or it's this.
I've had a black bean burger. That's about as vegan as I've gotten.
This guy had a method to how he cooked it, okay? Which they describe. Like you could hear him sizzling it and cooking it.
Meat?
Huh?
What is the quote-unquote meat?
It's all plant-based.
Okay.
So everything's plant-based. And in fact, he creates a lot of the meats he uses. Some of the meats, he'll use stuff that is like, an industry standard, but he's created his own type of chicken meat, even though it's not chicken. He creates a lot of Italian cheeses. He loves Italian food, so he does these things. He does these pop-up restaurants. So he took over this place in Bridgeport that is like for the entire month of January. And it is totally worth checking this out. Okay. Totally worth going down there and trying this out. And I think Evergreen Park would be just lucky if he's talking about opening up his own restaurant. This would get me there. Like I ate it and I was like, I could fool my children.
Really?
Bring it. And the money was the same. So every time my doctor, Dr. David Beckman here in Evergreen Park, you've heard him on the show before. Every time he points out, Chris, you got to eat less red meat. Guess what I didn't have today? I didn't have red meat and I had a double cheeseburger. And I'm a believer. I went immediately. Now, and he even admitted, there's nobody else that makes it taste like this. So, I mean, like, that's the thing. I was like, well, I'm going to go vegan. He's like, you go someplace else. So, I mean, you listen, especially if you're somebody who eats vegan food, check that out on Southside Pod. This episode of the EP Podcast and every episode of the EP Podcast brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. I have the kids. They all have their own bank accounts. Actually, the 2 teenagers. I haven't given Nick one yet. I should get him a junior savings account. Okay, but the teenagers have accounts. The great thing is I have my business account and I have a personal account over there, right? So I got multiple accounts. With their new online banking app and their whole system, I can see what everybody's doing. So I was able to determine very quickly which one of my children is bad with money.
Oh God, which one is it? I gotta know.
I'm not giving it up.
Oh, come on.
I'm not giving it up, okay? One of them
Snitches get stitches.
Really good with money. One of them, I just walked in, I was like, your balance is $62. The child's head hung in shame. And all I heard was, I know. I won't do that again. But I mean, like, it was a learning experience. And you know what? It's really easy to manage it all over there. Plus, the bankers know them. So, like, they've stopped in when they have a question about something or to make a deposit because they get a check from somebody or something like that. So, I mean, it's an old style bank. If you get the checking account, you get free ATMs nationwide and a $300 bonus. Check them out online, of course, at bankevergreenpark.com or just stop in and see them. The building's like a landmark for Evergreen Park. right over there at 95th and Pulaski. If you're looking for local news and you go to patch.com and you click on Evergreen Park, Illinois, you will read a lot of articles from Lorraine Swanson. She not only covers Evergreen Park for the Patch, but she also covers several other suburbs surrounding and in the area of Evergreen Park. And I brought her on the EP podcast just to chat a little politics. Nothing bad. People always, when they hear that word, Lorraine, they get all excited about what are they going to say. How are you today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
How is it possible that the last time there was an election in Evergreen Park, it was hotly contested? We had two people running for mayor. We had multiple challengers for the village board. And now, just a couple years later, nobody challenges the 3 sitting village board members. I kind of expected at least the ones that lost last time to come around and try again. Nothing. Completely uncontested. Is that right?
That's right. And I thought some of the challengers would have made, from 2 years ago, would have made good trustees. Same thing in Oak Lawn. It's not contested. Neither their hotly contested library trustee race from a few years ago. And, maybe because there's not if this isn't a mayoral election, I still think it's important. You have a mayoral race or just trustees running. But yeah, I was surprised by that. And maybe everyone in Evergreen Park is just really happy. I don't know.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, here's the thing. We have James McQuillan, and I've never had a conversation with him on this podcast. The other two have been on the show a few times. Jeannie Olson and Mark Marzullo, our good friend that pops in here all the time. He's probably on the EP podcast more than any other elected official in Evergreen Park. He likes coming on. He tells us everything that's going on in the village. He's a very personable guy. And so I'm not opposed to the people that are going to be village board members because they've been so friendly to the show and they've really communicated well with us about what's going on in the village. But I was also kind of surprised. I figured after the last election that it was always going to be exciting. And now, what do you do, Lorraine? You got nothing to cover.
Yeah. On the other hand, there's 11 candidates running for the Lorraine Community College Board of Trustees. You do have 5 people running for 4 seats on the library board.
That's right. The Evergreen Park Library Board will be the hotly contested local election because there's 5 people running for 4 seats.
Yeah, I love the Evergreen Park Library. You guys, they do so much in a very small space. They're very innovative. They're always hosting interesting events and authors, and they just a very dedicated staff. And you guys are lucky to have the Evergreen Park Library. Is what you had your guest Bert Odelson, the election attorney. He just said that people are afraid of social media, and I've had things said about me that aren't true, and you just have to let it blow over. I'm sure as a member of the media that you've had similar encounters with.
I have had some very, very interesting things over my career that have been said about me. But the thing is that I always say with the social media, it doesn't bother me because back in the day when I was an actual radio host, somebody had to sit down, write a letter, put it in an envelope, find out the station's address, buy a stamp, put it on there, walk down to the mailbox and mail it off when they were angry at me. And if I've gotten that kind of angry mail in my time in the media, your Twitter post doesn't bother me. So I normally just let it all roll off now. But I get it how most people who haven't experienced it before may be like, I don't know if I'm really up for this.
Yeah. And there was a lot of social media bashing going on in Evergreen Park 2 years ago. And I was certainly getting trolled, but I get trolled all the time. And people accuse me of censoring their comments. There's not enough hours in the day for me to patrol comments on Patch. We have moderators for that.
Let me tell you something. Comments on Patch sometimes is great reading. Like, really, I mean, like, you know, I'm one of those people, like, I have a Facebook account, and I'm kind of like a Facebook creeper. I only have the account so that I can post stuff on the pages for the different podcasts, but I really don't post anymore on Facebook. I haven't done it for years. But every once in a while, I just like getting in the comments and just reading the crazy on something, right? And like when I go into the Patch thing, just some of the conversations are just incredible. And I just sit back and it's good reading. Like during lunchtime, sometimes I'm really flipping through the Patch just to look at the comments.
Yeah, I remember when blogs were emerging in 2007. I was working up on the north side covering some very crazy aldermanic races. And, you know, this was really right before, maybe a year before Facebook was coming into vogue. But it was great reading. And I would read it every morning before. That's how I would start my day and just find out neighborhood news and just what people were thinking. And I think those blogs played a big part in how some of those elections went. Just to get back to the south suburbs, is it apathy? Is it just people don't know who the mayor of their town is?
But think about it. I don't know if that's possible here. Like, that's the really interesting thing. Like, and this is not me tooting my own horn by any stretch of the imagination, but not only are you covering things on the Patch, but we have a lot of the people that run the village, not only just the mayor coming on and trustees that come on here, but we'll get the people that are in charge of different departments that make things work around here, and they get to talk about what they actually do. So, I mean, look, I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but I mean, they're pretty informed here. If you want to be informed about what's going on in Evergreen, you're pretty informed in Evergreen Park about what's going on.
Yeah, I think people are vested in Evergreen Park. I see it in Oak Lawn. I wish Oak Lawn would kind of take be a little more, just do some of the programs that, like the thing with the Christmas lights recycling, that was great. And other towns have picked up on it. And it would just be, I'd like to just see this be a norm for towns.
I guess what we're going to have to look forward to is the hotly contested library board race. That's it. That's what we got. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to pump this up as much as possible. For content's sake, I'm bringing Frank Murray back in here next time, and I am just we're gonna get all into the weeds with the library board race.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Lorraine Swanson from the Patch. Check it out, patch.com. And thanks so much, Lorraine. I appreciate you jumping on the show.
Thank you, Chris. Take care.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. All right, give me your date this week.
Oh, no, do I have
no,
to?
I want to know. You only have to give me one.
This goes down as the worst.
How do you meet him? App?
Yep, on the app.
Which app?
On the Hinge.
On the Hinge.
On the Hinge.
All right.
So this guy he was very good.
What do you know about him on the Hinge before you get there?
Pictures. They tell you where they went to school, what they do for work.
All lies. It's all lies.
It's all lies.
If I were on the Hinge, I went to Harvard. Okay? I'm a doctor. I make $350,000 a year. Here's a picture of
That's
my...
how you never get a second date.
Here's a picture of my Bugatti.
Oh,
all right? But it's going to be in the shop when I come and meet you.
Of course.
Right? Well, I'm also an environmentalist, so I only take the Bugatti out at special occasions. Otherwise, I come up on my bike because I'm an environmentalist.
Of course.
That's what I would say.
Of course.
I'm the environmentalist with the $350,000 job, with the Harvard degree, the Bugatti that I only use on special occasions. You make it to the third date, you get to ride in the Bugatti.
If you get to a
You're
third
hooked
date.
right now. If I was a guy with a good picture, you'd be like, I'm in on that one. We can make it to the third
here's my
date.
thing. I'm not into pretty guys, you know, and this guy was a pretty guy. He's from Central America, so he had the dark skin. He was tall, dark hair, handsome, gleaming white teeth, just a beautiful
What was
man.
his name?
Sergio.
That's amazing. Okay.
Where we connected,
Sergio,
he's
the
from
beautiful
the
guy.
west suburbs, but he's getting his PhD in like astrophysics or something
Lies! It's all lies.
from LSU in Baton Rouge, where I'm from.
Right.
So that's how we connected. So
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
On these apps, is it possible that somebody could scout women with a different profile and then create a profile that would that they know that wouldn't be into? Like, oh, here's Hannah. She's originally from the Bayou. I'm studying astrophysics at LSU. Like, is it possible?
no, because you can't go back and just search for somebody.
Oh, okay. You can't
search,
do that.
No, you
All
can't
right.
search for somebody.
All right.
You know, you
Yeah,
can't do it.
I've
It's a
never
one and
used these
done.
things
It's a
before.
one and done. You get a first glance, and either you're yes or no.
Listen,
and
if I were
you
on
say
one of these
no, you never see that person again.
if I was on one of these apps, Erica would sniff it out within less than 24
Of course
hours.
she would.
And I'd be dead before I woke up in the morning.
And I would be
Okay?
helping her.
Murdered
I would
in my
be,
sleep.
I would be helping her at Home Depot pick out a shovel.
Right, and buried in the backyard with lye thrown on top of me. So
Yeah.
I don't know how these things work. Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
he's going to LSU. So that's how we connected, made a conversation. And I was like, you know what? It's like, let's just go grab some happy hour. Like, you know,
How long did you talk to him?
leading
up to
maybe
this.
3 weeks.
Couple of conversations.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a real quick one.
No, it wasn't a real quick one. About
All
3
right,
weeks.
here we go.
So we went somewhere in the west suburbs. I did go out of my way, went to the western suburbs.
Here we go. Well,
Yep.
Sergio was pretty enough to get you out of your element.
Sergio
Yeah.
got me out of my
All
element.
right.
So we get
And
there.
is this a lunch or an evening day?
An evening happy hour.
Happy
it was
hour?
like 5:30. Literally, we met at 5:30 in the afternoon.
Outfit wise, what are you doing? You showing up looking like you just got out of work?
I just had a black dress on and some black boots, you
All
know,
right.
something casual, you
All
know?
right. Okay.
So, anyways, I get out. He looks exactly like his pictures. He's even more beautiful than his pictures. I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
Right.
You know, and we parked at the same
If
time.
Sergio plays his cards right and says the right thing, chances Sergio has a great first date.
Sergio, we
Hannah.
pulled up at the same
Do you
time.
have like rules for the date? Like no matter how pretty he is, I'm only going so far, or is it whatever happens?
It's whatever happens.
Really?
Well, I mean, not whatever. If I'm going to kiss him at the end of the day,
Hey,
you know?
look, I don't know how fast you move. That's
I
what
know,
I'm
and
asking.
sometimes they get a kiss, sometimes they don't.
So
Anyways,
a kiss is the best he's getting.
the best on the
The
first
best.
date. On the 1st
You're
date,
sure of that?
yes, that's the
Doesn't
best you're
matter how
getting.
beautiful he is.
That's the best you're getting.
Okay.
That's the best you're getting. So he even opened up my car door for me because we pulled up at the same time.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, he knows how to treat a lady. So we went inside. We ordered our beers. We both were into IPAs. Got our IPAs. And we were just talking about Baton Rouge for about 5 minutes.
5 minutes in.
5 minutes in, we were just talking about Baton Rouge. He puts down his glass. We're sitting at a high top table across from each other. He puts his pint down. He leans over the table and he's asking me, but he's saying it in a tone as if he's telling me. He says, "So, you're coming back to my place after this, aren't you?"
Smooth.
And I just looked at him and I said, "No."
But here's the thing.
I've known you for 5 minutes. No.
So you say no.
I said no.
His reaction is.
His reaction was, you should have seen the look on his face. He was like so offended.
Now, did you laugh at him? Did you laugh
I
like
didn't know. No, I kinda
You're
sat
so
there.
beneath me. I would never go back to your place.
I just
with
could
you.
not believe someone would be that brash 5 minutes into a date.
I mean, I'd use that
then,
move.
And then the way he's like, he was telling me I was going to do this. And I'm like, no. And he goes, well, why not? I was like, I just met you. He goes, are you not attracted to me? I said, I'm very attracted to you.
He's
but
got to let it go.
I said, I'm not going back to your place with you. He goes, we're two consenting adults. He's like, we can't like just go have some fun after this.
Oh.
No. And so he made another
Sergio.
decision. He made a decision for me that we're
Yeah.
both consenting.
Yeah.
So he made the decision right there that we're both consenting
Right.
adults. I said, no. I was like, let me get to know you a little bit better. Then maybe I'll come over. Chris. Okay, so you shot your shot. The girl
Right,
shot
right.
you down. What would you do?
That's a bold move.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I never pulled a move like that in my prime. On the radio, morning show, face on billboards, girl knows I'm famous. I probably only got the date because of the fact she knew who I was. Because, I mean, like, I would outkick my coverage because I was popular. I am not a pretty man, but like I had girls that would like hang out with me or go on dates with me that I think my friends would be like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Right. Because I'd get them backstage passes to a concert and I was cool. All right. I mean, nobody ever waited for a table when they were with me if I was in a town and I was the morning guy. So, I mean, it was a different thing. And some girls are into that. In my youth, early 20s, my bad boy days, I probably throw that kind of a line out, right?
Okay, and what would you do if she said no?
If she said no,
what is your rational human being?
My response would have been, well, let's see if I can convince you otherwise by the end of the dinner.
Okay.
Or I would have dropped it. I wouldn't have gone with, but we're two consenting adults. I mean, like Sergio.
That's how it went.
Sergio got shot down and then acted like a 2-year-old who couldn't have the toy he wanted. That's what he acted like.
He acted more like a 2-year-old. It gets better. He acted even more like a 2-year-old. When I told him like final no, like we're not doing this, he asked for the check and he left.
That's a jerk move.
He asked for the check. The date was over in 10 minutes. I drove to the western suburbs for a 10-minute date.
That's awful. First of all, that's awful, and you would be completely within your right to throw your drink on him. Like, honestly,
that would have been the perfect chance to do that.
Perfect chance to just throw a drink on a guy and just be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I have a
Tourette's."
You know what? I forgot to mention that I have this wrist injury, and every once in a while,
it just kicks in.
Right, and then while he's sitting there soaking, you just grab the water because you've already thrown the drink, and then you go, there it goes again, and you throw it a second time. Like just sell the bit, right? What's he gonna do, right? He shot his shot. It didn't work. He acted like an idiot after it was over.
He did.
I get it, okay? But there's also this line of thinking, and a lot of guys will get this advice at some point in their life that if you don't sometimes just say it like, we're going to dinner later on the night, there are girls who are into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're not, but the moment she says no, you don't grab her by the arm and say, no, we're two consenting adults. You're going to dinner with me. You don't do that. You see what I'm saying? I understood the wording and the move.
Yeah.
And if he had talked to you a few times and he got the impression that maybe, just maybe, you had made some sort of connection and he thought that was going to be, like, that's what, obviously what he does is he probably has the same conversation with 20 girls.
Probably.
Waits until he gets to the point where he thinks that, like, this one's hot to trot and I can use that move.
Yeah.
He goes out to do the move, and when he gets shot down, he's angry about it because he wasted his time. He immediately goes to his car and he starts up with the next girl that he's on.
I'm sure he did.
And you know what? It works from time to time, or he wouldn't do it. That's what I would say.
I just said,
kudos to you for being like, I'm not that kind of girl.
I am not that kind of girl. I'm like, who the hell do you think you are? So anyway, so that was my nightmare, disastrous date of the week.
All right.
I've not had a good one in quite a while.
If we had a big choke board right now, the men that we've already heard about, is he better or worse? I want to find the worst guy that you've hung out with all year. Is he better or worse than the mope that was in my basement?
He's worse than the mope.
Okay.
The mope was at least a gentleman the first time I met him.
We have a new leader in the clubhouse.
Have you been injured at work? Then you need someone who will fight for the care and compensation you deserve. The insurance companies will look out for themselves and their bottom lines, not you. I'm Matthew Coleman, partner and head of the work injury department at the law offices of Parenti and Norm. My team and I have the experience, dedication, and proven results it takes to fight for your rights. Call or text me today at 312-641-5926 or visit us on the web at pninjurylaw.com.
It's now time for your repeat podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative. Full taster bar, plus great CBD products, and a brand new location, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. See all they have to offer at coolcloudsvapor.com or stop in and see them at 3148 West 95th Street. The Evergreen Park Chamber of Commerce is hiring a member services coordinator. Part-time job. They're looking for somebody media savvy. If you're an idea person, I'm pretty sure they want to hear from you. If you're interested, send your resume, cover letter, couple of references to employment@evergreenparkchamber.org by the end of the month. Congratulations to Evergreen Park Community High School senior Jack Donnelly. According to the press release I got from the school this past week, Jack won the Chick Evans Scholarship. Congrats to Jack. Mayor Kelly Burke is giving her State of the Village address at a luncheon this Thursday, January 19th, 11 a.m. at the Community Center, 3450 West 97th Street. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased at the Office of Citizen Services by January 17th. The mayor will be on this show next episode. The Evergreen Park Youth Department is having a snow tubing field trip on Saturday, January 28th, 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. 5th grade through high school, limited space available. You only have a couple more days to sign up. It's $30 a kid. Get more details, register 708-229-3377. The Village Rec Department has a magic class for ages 5 to 12 at the Community Center this Thursday the 19th, 5 p.m. until just before 6 o'clock. Kids will learn to amaze their friends with card tricks, rope tricks, and more. Also this Thursday the 19th, adult wine and paint night at the Community Center. Why? Because we're all a little bit more creative after wine. And coming up in February, Saturday the 25th and Sunday the 26th, the second annual Capuano Classic at the Dan Capuano Ice Rink. It is a 4-on-4, 21 and over hockey tournament. $500 a team. Max roster is 12 players and a goalie. All teams guaranteed 3 games. Get more details 708-703-1322. That's your word on the street. And the last thing we're going to talk about today is brought to you proudly by sidsauce.net. Sid Sauce is the only place I get my hot sauces from. They deliver to your door. They bottle them here in Evergreen Park. They're growing the peppers here locally. My favorite right now is Al Capone versus the Unabomber. I know, weird name for a hot sauce, but it's got a sweet habanero along with a lot of strawberry, mango, ginger flavor to it. It's perfect on tacos. It really is. It's like the one I'm going to all the time these days. See every sauce they have at sidsauce.net. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
I don't want to. Hopefully, this doesn't touch a nerve, Hannah. But you were married for how long?
Technically 11 years.
11 years, okay. And you've been divorced now, out there single for how long?
Legally separated about 1.5 years.
Living on your own for
1.5 years.
Okay. Who did the majority of the household fixer-upper type things? Were you somebody who fixed things up, or did he do it all?
We split it.
We split it.
We split it. When we went from a condo to a house, he took on more, he learned more, but definitely at the condo, it was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were the fixer-upper.
Yes.
I'm the only one that does it.
Okay.
At best, Erica might pick the shade of paint.
Okay.
But I'm painting. Okay. If something needs to be
love
repaired,
painting.
I'm repairing it.
Yeah.
In fact, we hire plumbers now because I suck at plumbing. We do. I have a plumber come in for some of the littlest stuff.
Really?
People laugh at me for it. Oh, I'm terrible at it. There's always a leak.
So I change out a faucet or something?
Yes. I had somebody come in.
You called a plumber to change a faucet.
I did. Because there's always a leak, Hannah. There's always a leak. And you want to know what the problem is? And I bet you there's people in Evergreen Park that will sympathize with this. The house was, I want to say this was all farmland a long time ago where we're at, right? Okay. So supposedly my house is one of the original houses that was built. And it was built by the guy who owned the farmland.
Okay.
So he started building these houses, and then other people, bought land and built their own houses. But this is one of his. It's an original.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line, the guy who had this before me, he decided he was going to do all of his own repairs. So everything from the pipes to the electric. To it's a mess. Mm-hmm. It's a web of crap.
That's how my house was.
It's all been done terribly.
Yep.
Basically to fix something, I have to replace everything. If I open up an electrical socket, I go, well, that's not up to code. And that's going to cost a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I mean, that's everything was do it yourself for the guy who was in this house.
Right.
It's a miracle the house just hasn't imploded upon itself or exploded into a ball of flame. Because every time I look at something, I go, God, this guy, I hate him.
Yeah.
I don't even know him, but I hate him for everything he did in this house.
The guy at my house, he died in the house in the basement. I know this from several of the neighbors, and I would just say the nastiest stuff to his ghost.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, because you believe that the ghost was walking
go
around.
to hell, boomer.
You with your Louisiana spirits and everything
My
like that.
Louisiana spirits.
You're walking around like, well, I mean, there's clearly several ghosts in this house, and
There
I can
are.
speak to them. Okay.
Yep.
All right, weirdo. Anyway.
Look at all those people in this great suburb driving down 95th and Kedzie. What a great place. It's called Evergreen Park, but we know it better as the EP. We're known for more than just the Unabomber. Remember Ted Kaczynski? You guys might even remember that big old rooster on 95th Street. It's all part of EP's history. So listen up to the EP podcast. You might be asking why. Because we talk about all things and we celebrate all the great things in the 60805. It's the EP podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP podcast. Evergreen Park.